to Fly Nubian Queen Network, the network for melanated people like you. I am your host, Marye Esquire, here at the WallStreetLawyer.com. And today I'm coming to you live to talk about how to document an agreement, simple agreements without the need of an attorney. So come on in here and hit the share and subscribe button. Let me know where you're from. Drop your hashtag B1 in the chat. And drop your .com. I always say drop your .com because I am the WallStreetLawyer.com, and I'm coming to you live on Fly Nubian Queen Network. So I want to know where you are from. We got people from all over the world. That's the wonderful thing about being a part of this platform, which I'm so excited to be a part of. But I get to talk to all of you out there in the internet world, and not just all of you random people out there in the internet world, all of my beautiful Black conscious people who put their Black people first. So that's how it goes down on Fly Nubian Queen. And I'm just happy to be a queen in the house. So drop the name of your business in the chat because we do support one another. I encourage you guys to support one another. This is why I asked you to drop your .com in the chat so that everybody else out there can support your business and they know where to find you on the internet. So come on and do that. Make sure you also hit the share and subscribe button because I'm going to be sharing some information with you guys today. The kind of information that is going to help you get from A to B to Z in your Black-owned business. So why do you want to get your contracts in writing? Many business deals are done today by a handshake and always have been since the beginning of times. Handshake deals work fine until they don't. Things go wrong in business, relationships go sour, conditions change, people change. And when they do, you have to get lawyers involved. And one of the first questions every attorney is going to ask you when you walk into the office is, did you get your agreement in writing? Do you have a contract? And if you've ever been in a situation and you did not have a written agreement in place, you know that protecting interests and enforcing your rights is a whole lot harder if there is no written agreement in place setting forth the terms of the parties' agreement. The reason that verbal oral contracts can be problematic is that the parties change, memories fade, and yes, people do lie. But I didn't have to tell you that, right? Without a written agreement in place, a judge or a jury would have a hard time determining which version of events to believe in. It's going to be your word against their words, okay? You're going to have to spend a whole lot of time proving up what the contract actually said before you even get into whether or not there was a breach of the agreement. So what happens if you can't afford an expensive attorney like myself? How do you document your agreement? You can do your contract yourself, but there's an even simpler way than just doing a simple contract because you're going to still have to get a contract. You're going to have to read the terms and make sure you understand all of the terms that you're agreeing to. Or you can send a simple email. And so, again, this is for simple agreements. This is for not something that is complex, that is going to require a lot of terms and terminology that you make sure that you want to include in your agreement to make sure that your rights are protected all the way. This is just your simple agreement documenting, maybe a joint venture or relationship or something to that effect. So let's get into this. A simple way to document your own agreements without the need of hiring an expensive lawyer like myself. Written agreements are binding documents that define the obligations of all parties involved in a specific project or for the sale of goods or services. Written agreements are necessary because they provide a clear record of the agreed upon terms. Here are a few elements of written agreements. So the way you want to do this, and you can either draft an agreement, like I said, and attach it. You can get one online, or if you want to if you have a membership in Black Wall Street, I actually have a plethora of contracts. Working on a table of contents now so I can organize all of the content that I have out there for you. But so in the meantime, all agreements have these three things. They define the scope of the work, indicating exactly what is to be done, by who, and within what time frame you're going to do it within. You also want to indicate who determines if the work has been completed satisfactorily. So you want to make sure you have some deliverables in the agreement. some timetables, some way to measure whether or not how the contract was actually performed, whether or not whether or not I did my portion when I hit this particular bar, when I do this checked off, you do your portion when you pay this amount, maybe you pay a deposit and then you get the rest of it after the work is completed on the back end. There are several ways to, arrange your agreement, but these are the terms that all agreements will share. The other thing you want to make sure you do is establish some type of boundaries within your time deliverables. Establish your time frame. You want to indicate how long the agreement will last and any deadlines associated with it. You also want to establish milestones and indicate when payments are to be made. Again, you may want to say a payment is due upon the signing of this contract or the sending of this email, and the end payment is going to be due on the back end. So you want to make sure you want to have those kind of so you know that when you weren't paid, you want to say, well, look, I had a whole year to make my payments, or I could have, you want to eliminate that by putting some type of boundaries and putting boundaries around the time frame. The other thing you want to do, this is a big one. You want to make sure you clarify any payment arrangements that you have. You need to make sure you speak very clearly about your money issues so that there's no ambiguity. You want to make sure you have a very clear meeting of the minds. That's a legal term, meeting of the minds. Who pays for what, when, and how, and what happened if payment is not made on time. Maybe you have an interest payment that, if a late payment fee or something to that effect. And so the way that you can do this by documenting it via email is simply saying, hey, this is, you have your oral agreement. This is what I agree to. This is what I believe and understand about our agreement. If this is what you believe the agreement to be, please respond back to this email and let me know that you confirm. If there's anything that you feel that needs to be changed within this agreement, please let me know via email so we can make sure we have a meeting of the minds and confirm our arrangement. And then you can go forth and multiply. That is the simplest way that I know how to document. Oh, and last but not least, almost left something out. But you want to document how your disputes will be resolved. That's a big one. That's a big one too. So many contracts will have like an arbitration clause. It really depends on what side of the fence you sit on, what side of the table you are on in this negotiating. Because if you do not want to be sued, then you'll add in some type of arbitration clause or a mediation clause, and maybe even pick a mediator or say that the mediator will be agreed upon or things of that nature. But I'm an attorney, so I always take out the arbitration clause. I don't need an arbitration clause. I don't need a forced mediation clause because I'm a lawyer. If we got conflicts, I'm going straight to court. So I want the ability to litigate. So you definitely want to indicate how your disputes will be resolved. Discuss in advance what happens if there is a later disagreement about any of the terms of the agreement. Will you submit it to arbitration or mediation before a legal claim is filed if there is a dispute? And you can determine who will pay for your legal fees and which state law is going to govern if the case goes to trial, gets into litigation. Whatever you do, make sure you put something in writing before you enter into any agreements, and make sure you have that at least something memorialized and that there was a clear meeting of the minds. And people always ask, I think of contracts. I think you need contracts in every relationship. I think you need to have a contract when you're getting into a marriage relationship. And the purpose of the agreement really and truly is just to make sure that you both have the same understanding. I cannot tell you how many times, time and time again, people are entering into agreements and one person is moving in this vein and doing one thing, and the other person is moving in another vein and doing a whole other thing. And they're performing under the same agreement. But what they really lacked was a clear meeting of the minds. Again, that is a legal term, a clear meeting of the minds. And one of the best ways to make sure you do have a clear meeting of the minds is to make sure that you put your agreement in writing. Your commitment to document the terms of your agreement shows you are really serious about the business of your business. So you can document it in a simple way by sending a simple email. A stepped up agreement from a simple email before you get to a contract would be sending your actual term sheet. These are the terms of the agreement. And we do that. We send term sheets so that we don't have to draft out a complete agreement with these terms and not have the terms correct. So you can do a simple term sheet as well. If you want to do more than just an email, you can actually do a term sheet. And these are the terms that I agree to. And you can memorialize that in the email. So you can either do the email, you can do a term sheet, or you can do a full-on agreement. Or you can hire an attorney to draft an agreement for you. So these are your options. But when you have agreements in your business, I must say, especially one that was prepared by an attorney, which you can get you an attorney to draft you some template agreements that you can use over and over and over again in your business. But when you do that, you show up in your business in a way that but actually forces other entrepreneurs and other business people to take you serious. And I can tell you this, when I'm doing business with someone and they do not have a contract, I know just how much I know how you operate your business. I've hired people, you hire camera people, you hire videographers, you hire photographers. And I can tell you when they do not have an agreement, that is something that is a red flag to me, because you're not that professional if you don't have an agreement. You're not covering your own tail, so to speak. So make sure you have your agreements. Now, complex agreements, especially where a great deal of money is at stake, should always be drawn up and reviewed by a lawyer. And you can find your business lawyer online at blackwallstreet.com. So again, I'm going to do a quick recap. This is real simple. Your few elements of every agreement: you're going to define the scope of the work, establish your time frames, clarify your payment arrangements, and indicate how disputes will be resolved. If you are looking to grow your business, please check out flynubianbusiness.com. If you are looking to better manage your money, please check out flynubianmoney.com. You can always find me, Marye Dean Esquire, online at thewallstreetlawyer.com. And if you have any questions about document agreements, or if you want your contracts drafted for you, or if you just like to purchase some of my templates, please go over to blackwallstreet.com and fill out one of our contact us form, and you can get in touch with me that way. You can also join my text message list by texting the word Black Power to 39970. Again, that's texting Black Power to 39970. It was always a pleasure. Until we meet again, have a wonderful good night. Oh, we got a comment in here. Let me show you. Somebody sent me some flowers. Marye Dean Esquire, yes, at thewallstreetlawyer.com. Coming to you live, dropping down some nuggets for Black Wall Street, because we're going to rebuild Black Wall Street, one Black entrepreneur at a time. That's how we roll. So it was always a pleasure. Let's see, comments. Take that away, brand. Signing out. It's been a pleasure as always. And I'm going to prepare some other stuff. I think I'm going to do one where I get into operating agreements. I'm really working on that one. That was going to be a long one and an intense one. Do a line itemization of what terms you actually need to put in your operating agreement. So I'll go through some actual agreements here with you guys, because there's some agreements that you need to have certain terms to make sure you're hitting these things. And this is why templates do come in handy, because when you get a template, sometimes it gives you a skeleton to put that your terms, your specific individual terms within. So yes, I'm happy that you guys came in. I hope that you found something here tonight that helped you. And until next time, bye-bye.